We are here, the most important football game in all of Africa, the game almost everybody has been waiting for in the past 1 year in terms of club football in the entire continent. The second leg of the final of the CAF Champions League, Pyramids FC from Egypt, hosting that is Mamaloni Sundowns from South Africa. After the first leg ended in a 1-1 draw, whoever wins this game will be lifting the new and freshest CAF Champions League title and will be the first team to lift this new trophy. So this is a very concise preview. This is a preview you want to watch because you want to know the dynamics, who is the favorite, who could probably win this game. So you want to watch this video and just keep on watching it. I don't know what I'm doing. All right, so welcome back. My name is Dennis Seyram, our African football over here. Thanks as always for watching the videos and keep on watching this one, as I mentioned in my introduction. But let me get into the game. And the first leg, as I mentioned earlier on, ended in a 1-1 draw, 1-1. So whoever wins this one gets to lift the trophy. But that first leg gave us a perfect picture going into this second leg that both teams are willing to go all out for this trophy. It's going to be an entertainment Champions League final. You cannot really doubt the quality of Pyramids FC. They showed it in that first leg, playing away in Pretoria. I think for Pyramids have given us a new dimension as to how football is really played on the continent. Always coming all out to play against their opponents, no matter where they play, whether they are playing home or they are playing away. And Sundowns themselves always playing that beautiful football. So I think it's the sort of final every a neutral person like me and any other neutral person would really like to watch because you see the best of African football at display. But let me get into the games, the teams itself. And Pyramids FC have not had it easy at all. As I mentioned earlier on in the preview of the first leg and also in some of my other videos, they had to play a midweek game against Cleopatra, a very important decider for the Egypt Premier League. And from what happened in that game, this was the lineup they used for the game against, that is, Cleopatra. And then this was the lineup they used for the game against Sundowns in the first leg. So 5 key players were given the rest. In midfield, Mohamed Lashain was rested. Blati Toure was also rested, didn't start. Ibrahim Adel, who freshly came back from injury about a month ago, didn't start. Also, Fiston Maele didn't start. And then Walid El-Khati, the man who scored the goal in the first leg, also didn't start. So 5 fresh players didn't start. But I think this is both a bitter-sweet experience for Pyramids. It's both good news and bad news. And let me explain. So I've worked in football before and been part of the coaching staff of a team. And from my experience, what you always don't like as part of a coaching staff is when you have a game in between, sandwiched in between a very important game. So if you are playing an important game, let's say if today is Saturday and you are playing an important game the following week, what you really hate is to have a game sandwich in between that important game because it sort of limits how you prepare for that important game. Ordinarily in football, you want to take every game one game at a time. So you don't ideally, you don't want to prepare for a game for Sunday, or else we have another game in the midweek. You also prepare for the one in midweek when you are done, then prepare for the one in the final. But from my experience and also a bit of knowing how things get done in some places, I think probably looking at the team which started for Pyramids, especially given the fact that 5 different players were given the starts, it's most likely that in training, they probably had to divide the team into groups. So some key players who, will start the final had to do separate drills as compared to those who started in the midweek games. So it will sort of give the coaching staff also more work to do, extra stress, more work because you have to work on analyzing the team you are playing in midweek, analyzing the team you are playing in the final, strategize for both teams, and correct your things for both teams. Whereas Sundowns, the experience should be straightforward. Ordinarily, the day after a game, you normally use it for recovery and rest. So players either get their rest, do some light recoveries here and there. So I'm sure that what must probably happen with Sundowns because they played the first leg in South Africa. They had been in South Africa preparing for the second week. For Pyramids, they had to fly back to Egypt immediately after the game. So even recovery for that game will be a bit of a problem considering they had to fly as well. As compared to Sundowns, who will probably go straight to their team base and then rest and then recover for the next training session. So, I mean, Sundowns have had the full week to prepare. The normal preparation sessions you do, you correct your mistakes from the previous games, you do some drills to correct the mistakes, do some drills to also plan ahead. Then you add the tactical, analyze the game, add the tactical bit of it. I mean, the normal delays you do in training for a bit. I'm sure they've had a smooth pathway in doing all that. But for Pyramids, it wouldn't be smooth because as I mentioned earlier, you have to prepare for the midweek game against, that is, Cleopatra and the HS Premier League, which they've already played, and then prepare for Sundowns too. But where I think it's going to be a positive experience, this particular one for Pyramids, is that they won that game by 5-1. So going into a Champions League game and winning your last game by 5-1, psychologically, is a huge boost, huge advantage for Pyramids, knowing that, they will be already feeling excited and happy going into that game. The second advantage is they got a red card in that game against Cleopatra and still managed to win by 5-1. And they've had a real-time situation to sort of analyze how to play, their strengths and weaknesses during a time of crisis when they go a man down. So should they go a man down in the final against Sundown, it's relatively easier for them to know how to strategize moving forward as compared to Sundown, who have been used to playing with the full 11 men for the entire knockout stage campaign. Yes, I think the last time they got a red card was when they played against Asfa. It was, I think, Raja Casablanca. So Sundowns are probably much more used to playing with 11 men. So when crisis come, when they get a red card, it could happen as it happened in the Confederations Cup final. Pyramids will probably know how to manage it better because they've recently had an experience and they managed it. And the third reason why is that, the game against Cleopatra in midweek, they managed to rest 5 key players. I mentioned their names already. And 3 of these players came in the second half and had the feel of the game. So it sort of continues the rhythm. You move from one point to the other. There is not a break in the rhythm of play for, that is, Pyramids FC. And they had enough minutes not to stress, not to get too fatigued, and then didn't also stay out of the game for too long. So they'll be a lot more fresher in the sense of continuing the rhythm of the game, which I think would be a good advantage for the Pyramids team. But here is why I think also it's a big problem going into the final. So the whole center line, the whole center back line, the center back line from left back, center backs, and right back started this game. That means in the last 1 week, they'll be starting their third game. That is, if Pyramids do play the same back line, they'll be starting their third game in 1 week, which ordinarily you'll be fatigued as a footballer playing such consecutive games without rest. So if I'm Sundowns, how do I take advantage of a moment like this? Because it's a purely advantage to Sundowns in terms of this particular perspective. So I think the ideal way for Sundowns would be to try and work out the defense, ensure that the defense do not remain static. They have a lot of work to do. So you stretch them out. You give them runs to bait. You stretch the defense out and you switch attackers. So they're always tracking one player, tracking the other, making runs, because they've already played 2 games in the past week, and then they are playing their third game in the past week. And all these players played 90 minutes in all these games. So you stretch them out. So make sure they are even being stretched. You play wide so that they make the runs in the very early minutes of game. And what happens is that when you work the defenders very early on in the game, it's most likely that getting to the latter stages of the game, they might be fatigued. And one thing you wouldn't want at all is a fatigued defender, because when a defender is tired, they are much more. It's easier for them to make errors, easier for them to make mistakes, easier for them to trying to make a clearance and then they make a mistimed clearance and then get an own goal. Quite easy for them to try to pick a pass and then make a sloppy pass and give a ball away. Quite easy for them to sort of, maybe when they are making the offside line, a defender might be so tired that he doesn't sync with the team. So he drops in the synchronization and then plays you onside. So offside line should not even be that effective with a tight defensive line. So these are all areas that Sundowns could really utilize in this game to their advantage. But let me also touch on an area in the first leg, which I think Pyramids could probably also be able to utilize in the second leg. So in the first leg, Pyramid tended to attack a lot through their left winger, Ibrahim Andel. And he really had a difficult time against Kuliso Mudau. He was handled. He was really handled by Mudau, who made sure that the Pyramids left winger, that is Ibrahim Andel, was not able to beat him in there. But coming into the second leg, I think I've read from a couple of Egyptian portals that this man, who is the right back for Pyramid, will be back fit. That's Mustafa Fati, and he will be back fit for this game. So if I'm Pyramid, I think the most ideal thing for me to do in this second leg will be not to overwork Ibrahim Adel too much, because yes, he has the quality. He's probably the best player in the Pyramid team, but then from what happened in the first leg, he's easily containable. But an area that he really thrived on was when he was being used as the decoy, or when players were playing off him, because this is a dangerous player. He always has the attention of him. So if he's not the one driving the ball forward, trying to create the spaces by dribbling here and there, and they are using him as the decoy, it's easy for him to sort of attract players to him and then play in other players. So he even created one chance for Fiston Mayele in the first leg in this manner, when he was playing through his players instead of taking the initiative to dribble and then create the chances himself. So I think that would be the perfect tool to give him, to use him as a decoy. He gets the ball, releases it, attract players onto him, releases the ball. Sometimes he probably stepped a little bit into the central zone a couple of times, which will allow Pyramids to then exploit their right winger. That is if Mustafa Fati is able to return. And he's proven that he's a very creative player, can also take on players easily. And Sundown defensively, their weaker side has always been their left side defensively, because Aubrey Modiba, who is the left back for Sundowns, is a very good technical player. He offers a lot in possession, offers a lot when attacking, but his defensive work rate doesn't really match up to what he really offers in terms of in possession and also in attack. So that could probably be the best area for Pyramids to exploit, instead of trying to break through Ibrahim Adel on the left side, break through, that is Mustafa Fati on the right hand side, who has the ability to create. He knows really how to create the chances. So if you get him the ball, he makes one or two dribbles. He can get you an inch perfect cross, can get you a low sweep cross. He can make a pass to an oncoming midfielder to shoot onto the ball. So I think that would be the best area for Pyramids to attack Sundowns. But this game is a home game for, that is, Pyramids FC. So I want to look into the numbers as to the performance for both teams when they are playing at home. That's when Pyramids is playing at home, and when Sundowns is also playing away. For Pyramid, and they've played 5 games at home in the Champions League this season. For some of their key players, Tristan Mayele has scored 5 goals at home. Ibrahim Adel has also scored 5 goals at home. Mustafa Fati, the right winger I was talking about, has scored 2 goals at home. And then Ramadan Sobi also scored 1 goal at home. So at home, the attackers are very lethal. We didn't see much of Tristan Mayele in the first leg because he's always dangerous at home. We didn't see much of Ibrahim Adel in the first leg because he's always dangerous at home. Same for the other players. When it comes to the assist column also, Ramadan Sobi has given 4 assists when playing at home. Mustafa Fati, the creative right winger I mentioned, also has 3 assists when playing at home. Ibrahim Adel himself has 3 assists when playing at home. The attackers of Pyramids, they do better. They always thrive better when they are playing at home. It shows in the numbers. They've played some difficult games at home. They play some relatively easier games at home. But then all these players always pop up at home. And they haven't even lost a game at home. They haven't even drawn a game at home. They've won all their games. Everybody who came to the John Tech Stadium in Cairo was beaten flat down. From Esperance to Orlando Pirates to Asfa, everybody got beaten at home by Pyramid. Then let's compare to the away record of Sundowns. And for Sundowns, their away record, they've won just 1 game away this entire season. They played 5 games away in the Champions League this season, and they won just 1. That was against Maniema Union. So apart from Maniema Union, they haven't won any other game away from home. They played Ali, draw away. Esperance, it was a draw away. They played Asfa, it was a draw when they played away. I think they lost away at Raja, I think so. And even if you come to the numbers from the players itself, Peter Salulili has scored 1 goal for Sundowns away from home. Then Ikram Reines has also scored 1 goal away from home. So only 2 players have scored for Sundowns when they are playing away from home. And even when it comes to the assist numbers, Tebo Mukwena has given 1 assist, and then Ronan Williams, the goalkeeper, is the other player to give the assist. So Sundowns don't score away from home. Only 2 players have scored goals. Only 2 players have assisted. None of their forwards has even made an assist away from home this season. So it's a worrying thread. It's a worrying record for Sundowns going into the finals of this Champions League. And in the knockout stages, they haven't even scored a goal away from home. That is, they are players themselves, because they scored a goal when they played against Ali. It was an own goal. It wasn't from Sundowns player. It was an own goal. So Sundowns as a team, the players haven't scored away from home in the knockout stages of the Champions League. So there's a lot to correct about the Sundowns team going into this final against Pyramids. As I mentioned, the first leg ended in a 1-1 draw. So even before I end this whole preview, I want to look at other previous finals in the previous years, how it went, because 1-1 in the first leg of the Champions League is a very regular scoreline. It happens a lot. So I want to look at what happens the years that a team played the first leg and it was a 1-1. So I'm starting from 2012, when only played a 1-1 draw with, that is, Esperance at home. And then they went away to beat Esperance by 2-1. Orlando Pirates played against Al Ahly in the Champions League. Right now, the first leg was played in South Africa. It was 1-1. And the second leg, which was played in Egypt, Ali won by 2-0. So the home team won the return leg by 2-0. Second time this happened since 2010 was in 2017. Ali against Wydad. It was 1-1. The first leg, which was played in Egypt. And then the return leg, it was Wydad who won by 1-0 and lifted the Champions League. So again, the home team who played the second leg won and then lifted the trophy. Then in 2019, Esperance played against Wydad. It was 1-1 in the first leg, which was played at home by Wydad. The second leg, which was at home of Esperance, Esperance won by 1-0, even though this game had a controversial end. It didn't really come to an end. Wydad well though, but in the end, it was Esperance who won at home by 1-0. So from these statistics, 75% of the time since 2010, when it ends in a 1-1 draw, the team playing at home in the second leg win the trophy. So per the statistics, per the numbers, and I'll probably have a 25% chance. This is just the numbers. I'm not saying this is what will happen, but it's just the numbers that per the statistics in terms of what happens from the previous years. Sundowns have a 25% chance of lifting the trophy, whilst Pyramids have a 75% chance. That is just per the results, picking on the results basis. But football is always different from statistics. I have a friend who tells me that statistics is like, says it's, I'm not sure I can, there is some vocal with it, so I'm not sure I can use it, but he's more like, it's more like it gives you something you can see, but then you can't really touch it. So once the whistle starts, the game is always different, and it depends on the 11 men and how the coaches treat their formations and then build their teams. But that's just for the statistics and numbers going into the game. But there's an important thing to note, that the last time a team not from North Africa lifted the Champions League was Sundowns, this same Sundowns team in 2016, when they won it against Zamalek, and it was same in Egypt where they won the trophy. So maybe they can revoke the spirits of 2016 9 years later and then lift the CAF Champions League again, right on Egypt soil this time again. Who knows? And because since 2016, all the winners have been from North Africa, all of them, not even a single one from the sub-Sahara part of Africa has lifted the trophy. So let's see. Will this be the year that Sundowns finally break the thing so the North Africa dominance will continue? Let me know who you think is going to win this one in the comment section.